It happened when I was very young. I was about 3 or 4. My first memory was, as a child, very violent. I remember CPS coming to my door and ripping me out of the house. And I didn't know why. Nobody told me why. I just remember not seeing my mom or dad for a very long time. The next time I would see my father was when he was in court. And so later on, as I grew a little older, my mom told me why they had to take my dad away. And it was the hardest thing to hear. My family hated me. They blamed me. I felt so abandoned. That's the biggest place I would be at, is abandonment. I would just live there. What made it more hard was I didn't have memories. So I always had family telling me it wasn't true. And his sister would say, he would never do that, he would never do that. And in my mind, I was like, yeah, he couldn't, he's my dad. And that was much easier to buy. And so while he was gone, he was in prison for 10 years. That was the easy way to live, was just to believe that they made a mistake, that my dad would never do that. And I lied to myself, you know. It wasn't until I got older and he got out of prison that I wondered, like, what really happened, because the problem that I had was I have no memories. I was only 3. So I decided to look through the paperwork, the police reports, and I found out that there was another victim. And she was also a family member. And that's why he had done 10 years instead of 5. And so it wasn't something I could run away from anymore. The hardest part of that scar is being able to say out loud that my father molested me. I started working for Hands of Hope, and that was my most favorite job. And there was a sexual abuse class, and it was called Mending the Soul. And I worked there for a couple of years, and I would see women come in and come out, and I would just be like, that's not for me. And so finally, I decided it's time to take the Mending the Soul. And it was the best decision I could have ever made. It helped me understand that God never predestined my sexual abuse. What he did predestine was the cross. And my dad could fully be responsible for his choice, and that it wasn't that God allowed it. But another thing that freed me was forgiveness didn't mean that I needed to pretend to reconcile, or that I needed to be by him. Those are natural consequences he has to lose out on. And knowing that forgiveness doesn't mean that I have to put up a front or lie to myself or anything. It was just such a gift to me. The biggest gift to me after Mending the Soul was being able to sleep in. I wasn't running from my thoughts anymore. And I just lay in bed and I could look at my husband and know that that's what God predestines, is for us to just taste. Like, what is real, and that's real. Giving birth to a child, that's real. Just being able to finally enjoy them without having to run from my past. I am now a Mending the Soul facilitator, and through our shop, my husband and I, we have a tattoo shop. Our hopes are that we could blend mending the soul and creativity together, because one of the things that I love to do now is write poetry. And I just think it would be a great outlet and avenue to continue to co-create. Why I love Scarred Beautiful is because you have the opportunity to voice what has been left unsaid for so long. And we need to heal together. And I believe that we can. I am Mayra, and I am Scarred Beautiful.